Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be building this Fokker Dr.I aircraft from Robotime. Now this is quite a different model from the ones I normally build. This is described as a 3D wooden puzzle, and it's basically a kit made from laser cut wooden parts, and as you can see here it has 145 pieces and is designed for ages 8 up. And according to the box this is a difficulty level of 3 out of 5. So because this is very different to what I normally build, let's start by taking a look inside the box. We have 3 of these wooden, I'm not sure if sprues is the right word, but 3 of these wooden pieces with the laser cut parts. This one you can see has the stand and a few of the tail sections. This second one here has the wings, and you can see there's a nice laser cut pattern there in those wings as well, including the detail there for the German cross. And finally we have this sprue here which contains the engine parts, the wheels and a few strengthening pieces for the wings. The instructions are very similar to those you'd find in a regular plastic model kit. There are clearly labelled pieces, and although there are only 9 steps in total, you can see that each step is clearly divided into several substages. And there are a few exploded diagrams in certain places where you need to see extra detail. Okay, so starting with the build. And the pieces generally push out of the sprues quite easily. You shouldn't need any tools to remove them. Depending on its size, each piece will have a couple of small attachment points, but they do break off nice and easily with a little bit of gentle persuasion. And you might find there's a tiny bit of sanding required on those attachment points, as you can see here. The kit does include a small square of sandpaper for that purpose. So the kit goes together without glue. It reminds me of the Bandai kits in that regard. The fit of the pieces is nice and tight without being too tight, but the pieces never felt like they would fall apart. So of course here I'm building up the tail of the plane, and then the kit has you put in these braces, which provides a really nice strong structure. One mistake I did make was on the seat here, where I put the bottom half of the seat in, and then realised that the back of the seat would not fit. And although it wasn't clear on the instructions, that's because you're supposed to add the back first and then the bottom afterwards. So you do need to plan a little bit with some of these steps. And then with the other side of the body in place, we can see you've got a nice rigid fuselage there, and all of those steps were just stage 1 of the instructions. In stage 2 you start to make the tail of the aircraft. You can see here some of these pieces have small laser cut details like these small rivets, and they have them only on one side, so you do have to pay attention to the correct orientation sometimes. Often the instructions will say note the direction of the pattern, but it won't actually tell you which way the pattern goes, and it won't show the pattern itself on the instructions, so you do need to be a bit careful about that. Although they're not movable, the elevators are separate, and the same with the ailerons. There are a couple of pieces like this upper fuselage piece here which need to be curved, but luckily you don't need to bend them yourself, because as you push the pieces into place, the guiding tabs take care of it and the piece will naturally curve into the right position. Again, that wasn't 100% clear from the instructions, but once I got the piece in place it became fairly obvious. The 2 machine guns fit on the front of the fuselage, and these were the only pieces in the kit where I felt the fit wasn't very good. There's only one piece holding them down, and as a result they were still quite loose, and even in the final kit you can wobble the guns left and right through quite a wide arc. The engine is made up of several pieces which stack on top of each other, and they all basically mount onto this shaft here. There's an arrow to get the correct direction, and they stack up there to give the engine detail. Now the instructions say the propeller should go in this direction with the near side flat edge pointing up. But if we do that, the pattern on the propeller is facing away from us inwards, which doesn't seem correct. So I put it on this way with the pattern facing outwards. And then that curved effect on top of the engine is achieved by these 7 separate pieces going in place. As you can see, the propeller is still workable. And here is the propeller mounted to the fuselage. And as you can see there, those machine guns are still very wobbly, which is not ideal. So with the fuselage done, that's the majority of the aircraft finished. The next stages are the wings. The lower wing is one continuous piece, and it has these slats which go in there to provide some rigidity. You can see I've put 5 in there already. These are not quite symmetrical. It's quite easy to get the right orientation here because if they go the wrong way round, they overlap the edge of the wing. And then the lower wing simply clips to the bottom of the fuselage, as you would expect. The mid-wing is very similar, except there are 2 separate pieces. And all of the wings have this long central piece here to provide some strength. And with the addition of the mid-wing, there's also this vertical bracing piece which goes in, and that provides the correct spacing for the wings as well. You can see that piece there. And finally the top wing, and again you need to make sure you get this the correct way up because you want the slightly darker detailed side of the German cross pointing upwards. This goes into place. And the addition of the ailerons there completes the wing. The wheels are a simple construction. And they clip nicely in front of the wings. I had to fiddle with them slightly to get them perfectly level and straight, but nothing too much. And there is our final aircraft. I think that looks really nice. There's also a stand that you can build, as you can see here. I haven't shown that in the photos at the end because it's not clear from the instructions how the stand is supposed to attach, and the only way I could attach it didn't seem very sturdy, it kept falling off. And as you can see here, we've got a few spare parts remaining on this sprue. The numbers here are duplicates, so I'm assuming they're deliberate spares. So let's take a look at the completed Fokker Dr.I. And there we go guys, that's the completed 3D puzzle of the Fokker Dr.I from Robotime. This was a really fun build with no major issues. There were a couple of times where I needed to study the instructions carefully or think a few steps ahead. And there were a few delicate parts on the sprue as well. With that in mind, I think maybe if an 8-year-old was doing this, as recommended by the box, they would probably need some adult supervision. But certainly I didn't need any sharp tools or anything similar to build this. I did pick this kit up on the spur of the moment from a bookshop, but since then I've ordered another wooden model like this, which is a U-Gear Grand Prix car. It looks a lot more complicated than this, so hopefully I'll have a build video for that sometime in the future. If you enjoyed this video, then please feel free to like and comment below. Or equally, if you prefer plastic model kits, then feel free to write a comment below as well. Before I go, let me take a moment to say thank you to everyone for watching, and a special thanks to people who have supported me on Patreon. Your support is much appreciated, guys, and it makes a big difference, so thank you very much. So until next time, thank you again for watching, and in the meantime, perhaps you'll enjoy one of these videos here.